Now to get started, we need to open up your team folder if you don't already see it. If you see a folder open that has a bunch of photos in it, you're halfway there. But if you don't see it, like me, we want to double click this shortcut that we have in the tree tour folder. So here's all the photos we took, and we're interested in this Waypoints file. We've downloaded your waypoints and saved it as a Google Earth file, and that's going to let us edit the waypoints if we need to. So double click this file and Google Earth will open up. If your Google Earth window isn't nice and big like mine is, just click on this green plus button at the top left and that'll make it nice and big. Just makes it easier to see stuff. Now we also want to see the list of waypoints. So over in the Places sidebar here, I can see the Waypoints KML file that we just opened up. And there's this little triangle to the left of it. And if you click that little triangle, we should be able to see our list of all the waypoints. And what we're going to do is rename the waypoints and make sure that they're in the correct location. So we want to zoom into number 1, and the easiest way to do that is just to use the scroll wheel and point at waypoint number 1, and you'll eventually get in nice and close. Okay, so I think it's in the right spot. But we want to rename this. So right click on your flag and go to Get Info. And we get this Edit Place Mark window. And we want to change the name to something more appropriate. And it depends on your role. So if you are pretty much anybody but a forestry student, you'll probably want to name this Tree 1. If you're a forestry student, you might still do Tree 1, but add in the name. And I know that this was a London plane tree. However, I'm not a forestry student in this case, so I'm just going to leave it as Tree 1. Don't worry about the timestamp that's in the description. We're going to be editing those later anyway. So click OK for Tree 1. Now let's go find waypoint number 2, and I already see that we have an issue because at waypoint 2 we've got 2 waypoints. I also can tell they're in the wrong spot because there's just sidewalk here and no tree. Now what this means is that the numbers from number 3 onwards are incorrect. They're 1 off at least, unless we have another duplicate. But that's alright because we're renaming them. So it doesn't really matter which one we want to delete. I'll just delete number 2. So right click on number 2, and it's probably easiest to do this in our list in the sidebar. And then select delete. And yes, we want to delete number 2. Now number 3 needs to be moved plus renamed, so I can right click over here or on the map and go to Get Info. And this is going to be tree number 2. However, before we click OK, let's move it to the right spot. And I know that it was the tree a little bit further up, kind of on the boulevard here. So right about there, and click OK. Now we need to find our next waypoint, and this one is definitely in the wrong spot across the street there. And I know we did the trees at the corner. So again, right click on the tree, Get Info. This one is Tree 3, and the location is about here. And this is a pretty regular thing that your GPS may not have been dialed in yet, and you may not have gotten the right spot, like the next one. So Get Info, move to here, and Tree 4. And so on, continuing through all of your waypoints to the end. There we have all of our waypoints completed, and now here comes the critical part. We want to resave our waypoints file back to where it started from. So the thing that we want to save is this Waypoints folder. You see there's a little folder icon right there, as opposed to the Google Earth icon in our KML file. With our cursor on the Waypoints folder, right-click, and you're going to go to Save Place As. Not Save to My Places, but Save Place As. Click on that. And hopefully we're in your team folder, like I am right now. If you're not, you'll find it under Favorites right here. And it may say Untitled, but all you need to do is click on your Waypoints file that's already here in the list, and that will get changed. You do want to make sure that it's not a KMZ file. This is a default that Google does, but change it to KML, and we're going to click Save. We're going to get a message that it already exists. That's okay. We're going to replace it because we have our revised information. At this point, we can close the Google Earth window, the red button here in the top left. We'll get this message that we have unsaved items in temporary places. We don't want to save the temporary items. We already did that. So we'll click Don't Save. In order to make our waypoints work in ArcGIS Online, which is the program we're doing our map in, we have to convert this file into something else. I'm going to open up the Help Movies window, which you guys already have open. I'm going to pretend for a moment that I have two monitors visible, my left monitor and my right monitor. But normally, of course, you've got your Help Movies on your left monitor, which is completely separate. But we do have this button right here, Convert KML File. So we want to click on that button. And here's a website that will convert our KML file into something called GPX. So click on this Choose File button here. And I've done this before, so I'm already in my team folder, but that's where you're going to go, is click on your team folder and select your Waypoints file and click Open. Then you're going to click on the Convert button. And now we have to download our new file here. So click on the Here. And you'll notice down at the bottom of the browser, we have this waypoints.gpx file. That went into our Downloads folder, which we're just going to leave there for the moment. Once you've done that, we can close this tab. We're not going to need that anymore. And you are ready to watch the next movie.